because that's all that's been done here, is putting everything out on a website, putting everything out for the public, not hiding anything.
Saying the judge saw right through them, and Blake Lively out there thanking the 19 organizations who filed briefs on her behalf.
That she took the position that you couldn't defend yourself by filing a claim against an accuser.
What if I told you a $250,000 donation may have changed the outcome of a high-profile court case? And what if that donation was allegedly tied to Blake Lively? This story goes beyond drama. It questions the very fairness of our legal system. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. A $250,000 donation might not sound like a lot in Hollywood terms. After all, it's less than the cost of some celebrity weddings.
But my take on what the judge did was the judge simplified things. When you've been in a situation where you've been wrongfully accused, how do you defend yourself? Are you allowed to defend yourself? While we're not pleased that he got rid of the defamation causes.
But when it's tied to a controversial court case, it raises eyebrows. At the center of this mess are leaked judicial documents that suggest Judge Michaels dismissed several of Justin Baldoni's claims without so much as a formal hearing. No back and forth, no arguments, just a swift sweep off the table. One of these claims included a subpoena that could have been a game changer, specifically one tied to Blake Lively's communication with an NBC reporter.
The truth was the case was never really about, defamation. And the real victim is Justin and the others, and it's because they've been wrongfully accused. While it's a portion of our claims, from the very start, this case was about somebody being wrongfully accused.
Imagine the implications of pulling back the curtain on those emails. Blocking that subpoena wasn't just a procedural decision. It created a massive imbalance. Without that evidence, Baldoni's legal team was left piecing together scraps while Lively's team shaped the narrative like a Hollywood editor cutting out unflattering scenes. What was in those emails? Maybe nothing, or maybe enough to change the entire direction of the case. Either way, the fact we'll never know tilts everything in Lively's favor. But here's where it gets even messier. A whistleblower leaked an email suggesting that the $250,000 donation wasn't just a random act of generosity.
And that's Justin. And it's also been about Melissa Nathan and her team at TAG, that she took the position that you couldn't defend yourself by filing a claim against an accuser, that the judge, is getting through all of this and saying, hey, we're going to pare this down to really what the issues are in the case.
It was funneled through a judicial mentorship nonprofit linked to Judge Michaels' clerk. Coincidence? The optics scream otherwise. And when you couple that with Michaels' repeated rulings favoring Lively's team, 92% of them to be exact, it's hard not to feel like the scales of justice were tipped. That's not a normal win ratio, even for Hollywood's finest lawyers. To top it off, the leaked donation memo included an odd detail. It was marked Project Athena. This wasn't just a check, it was part of a carefully crafted reputation strategy deck tied directly to Lively's PR team. Sounds less like a legal battle and more like a marketing campaign with better lighting. So was this $250,000 a simple gift, or a strategic investment to quietly rewrite the rules of justice? Coincidence or calculation? You decide. When Blake Lively requested to hold her deposition at her legal team's Beverly Hills office, the official story was that she had safety concerns.
Going on, I just want, answers to the key questions, right? Was there sexual harassment? Clearly no. The judge made clear that he didn't read the briefs. The judge made clear that he didn't rule on 47.1. Was there a smear campaign? And that's no also. So that's what I really think when you pare it down, the law and all of that.
But Justin Baldoni's legal team found internal emails that painted a very different picture. According to those emails, Lively's PR agents saw the deposition as nothing less than a branding opportunity. Yes, you heard that right. Branding, as if this were some kind of photo shoot and not a cornerstone of the legal process. The emails detailed plans to curate everything from the lighting to the messaging, making it clear that image control was the star of this show, not justice. Now, for those unfamiliar, standard legal procedures dictate that depositions are held in neutral locations or even at the office of the opposing counsel, locations meant to avoid giving either party an edge. You don't just plan it on your turf because you like the coffee machine or the photo ops.
Because that's all that's been done here, is putting everything out on a website, putting everything out for the public, not hiding anything.
Saying the judge saw right through them, and Blake Lively out there thanking the 19 organizations who filed briefs on her behalf.
So this case has always been about facts. It hasn't been about victory laps. It hasn't been about Saturday Night Live tours. It hasn't been about the People 100.
But Lively's team defied this norm, and much to everyone's surprise, or perhaps not so much, the judge granted this request. According to civil rights attorney Omar Ball, this is unprecedented. You don't get to choose your opponent's turf in court. The Beverly Hills switch-up, then, wasn't about legal strategy. It was about optics and control. And the safety excuse? Baldoni's legal team debunked that pretty quickly. They presented logs and memos from Lively's own security team showing zero credible threats to her safety. The paperwork pretty much demolished the idea that her request was about protecting herself. Without a legitimate safety concern to lean on, it's easy to see why critics began crying, "celebrity privilege." Suddenly, what should have been an impartial deposition looked more like a PR playbook, complete with a cast and crew. Brian Friedman, Baldoni's attorney, summed it up perfectly. This isn't about safety. This is about silencing the defendant and staging a press narrative. Maybe Judge Michaels just has a soft spot for Blake Lively. Or who knows, maybe something less innocent is at play. This case isn't just about Blake Lively or Justin Baldoni, it's about how power and privilege can twist the legal system into something unrecognizable. From the leaked documents suggesting preferential rulings to the eyebrow-raising deposition arrangements approved by Judge Michaels, it paints a picture of justice bending under the weight of celebrity influence. If you believe courtrooms should deliver fairness, not headlines, this case highlights why transparency and accountability are non-negotiable. Because, let's face it, if someone's star power can tilt the scales of justice in their favor, what hope is there for the everyday person? Think about that.